Manish Gulati, CFO of HEG Limited now joins us. Manish, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Manish, could you walk us through what is the update on graphite electrode prices, how they essentially have moved?
See, for the last 6 quarters, having seen a record high, the prices have been on a decline quarter by quarter, but now they seem to have reached a bottoming out situation. So we are in the next quarter or so, we are looking at prices firming up.
What is the lag between steel production, steel pricing and electrode prices? Because ultimately you are a byproduct of what is happening to steel industry. We understand that this is a purple patch for the steel industry. When it be a purple patch for you?
See, right now, what we are seeing in steel industry in India and also in China, that the utilization rates are increasing, and eventually that's resulting into increase in electrode demand. You see, in the last 6 months, or let's say since July, the steel prices have gone up in China by almost $100, and which has improved the profitability of steel companies, and that's encouraging the electric arc furnace steel industry, where our product is used. So their utilization rates are going up. And you would have seen that, even the electrode prices are now, having been disastrously low 6 months back, or let's say since about September, October. So they're starting to inch up in China.
But can I safely assume that there is definitely a historical correlation that if steel prices go higher, if demand goes higher, electrode prices will go higher? It could be a matter of a quarter here on there, but you would be a huge beneficiary of what is happening to steel demand, or the dynamics are different?
No, it's actually we are dependent on the steel production. The more steel is produced, the more electrodes get consumed because it's a consumable. So definitely they go hand in hand with some lag effect of a few months. So once steel production starts to move up, 30% of which is made through the electric arc furnaces, obviously that translates into increase of electrode consumption and increase in electrode demand. So that's quite favorable to us. When the steel industry, our customer, they do good, we obviously do good.
Sure. Manish, also wanted to understand how exactly do you see needle coke prices move? Because we have reports which are stating that needle coke manufacturer quotations are quite strong because of rising demand from other segments.
See, the other segment which is talked about is that lithium battery segment, but we have to understand that lithium batteries have other raw materials also. So the price which electrode industry pays to them, that lithium battery application cannot pay to them. So far, the needle coke prices have been dropping, and they, as electrodes have been dropping. So I don't know what happens when we will negotiate for next year. But they're also in the same chain. As steel moves up, electrode moves up. So needle coke people also follow. But right now, the needle coke prices are quite low compared to what they were a year ago.
Sure. You've exported 2/3 of your production to 30 countries, as we understand. Who is your top exporter?
See, our markets are quite widespread. Actually, we are, other than India, we are in Middle East, we are in Americas, we are in Europe, we are in Southeast Asia. So it's not, we are not dependent as such on a particular region. So it's quite fairly spread across all 5 continents.
Sure. Let's talk about China as well. They've set up a lot of GE capacity which hasn't been utilized. Could this possibly be a utilization effect and not just pricing but volumes for companies like yours?
See, they have been coming up with these new graphite electrode projects, but they're more geared up to serve the domestic China demand. Because still China produces 90% of the steel through the blast furnace route, which is very unusual because rest of the world produces 50% of the steel through the electric arc furnace route. So there was a plan that they will move up to making 20% of the steel through the electric arc furnace route. due to that expectation, a lot of graphite electrode projects came up in China, but they are going to be making mostly small size electrodes catering to their domestic electric arc furnace industry.
Okay. And on the steel scrap standards as well, again, China planning to set new standards there. And it's important for the GE industry because it's used in EAF to make steel, of course. Now, would that affect HEG or the overall GE industry in any way?
See, for us, what happens in China, if the electrodes which they are making for their domestic consumption, so far it doesn't affect us. But it only starts to affect when they start exporting a lot of graphite electrodes from China. Although it's not the same grade what we make, majority of the grade made in China is the high power grade, which is a normal electrodes, not the ultra high power grade, which are used for big electric arc furnaces. So as long as whatever they produce, if their electric arc furnace steel production picks up, which it will eventually, because it's very, very unusual for a country like China to be making only 10% from electric arc furnaces. They're still biased towards the blast furnaces. Only lately, when the prices have improved, the margins from the electric arc furnace have improved, and that's why we are seeing a little upturn in electric arc furnace production from there. So as long as they make electrodes, they consume within and do not disturb the rest of the world equation, it's absolutely fine. In fact, that is the main purpose of the electrode projects coming up in China, because they want to cater to their demand. As the scrap cycle improves, the more scrap comes to the market, it becomes available to the electric arc furnace producers in China, so it becomes more viable compared to the blast furnaces.
Are things looking as strong as what they looked for you in 2018, middle of 2000, first half of 2018 and 2019? Because that really was the dream run for your company and your stock price. What I'm trying to understand that if things incrementally improve and directionally move the way they are you in for that kind of a patch again?
Not that kind of a run really, because that came too suddenly, and when there was sudden clampdown in China, we're not looking at that, but we are certainly looking at getting better next year, incrementally. But that kind of a dream run, I don't think we are there yet.
Okay. How much would you say your demand comes from existing production and how much comes from new capex? Because while incrementally existing production is going higher, I don't think there is a very large capex happening in the steel industry.
See, right now, as regards new capex, there are a couple of new electric arc furnaces based plants coming up in US and some in Middle East, some other parts of the world. But right now, the steel industry today still remains underutilized. So first, the utilization rates have to go up for new capexes to come in. Right now, world is in a situation that we have old blast furnaces running, and we have some incremental new electric arc furnaces coming up. And as an industry, it remains underutilized. So first, the demand has to reach a level where the overall capacity utilization goes up and prices firm up, and only then we will see new investment in steel making.
Okay. What is your current utilization rate? What I'm trying to understand is that incrementally, when will the operating leverage kick in for HEG?
Right. So we are, for the first half of this year, we are at 60%. And in this October to December quarter and Jan to March, we should be at 70% capacity utilization level. And going on, I mean, depends on how this COVID thing pans out. If it goes out sooner, then definitely it will only move up from 70%. That's our expectation.
All right, so really appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and certainly hope to see much more of you going forward. Let's take a break. We are holding above 13,000 or just about holding up. The real star today, autos. iShare is up 2%, Maruti is up 3.5%, and then there is definitely an excitement in Mahindra & Mahindra, which is now firmly staying above 700. Let's take a break.